Hello there guys, what is going on? SonOfChelsea back here again for my rational perspective on Chelsea's penalty shootout win over Southampton in the League Cup. Another penalty shootout win. I've just seen a tweet that says from Neil Barnett that this is the first time in Chelsea's history we've won 3 consecutive penalty shootouts. Already 3 penalty shootouts, and we're not even in November. I mean, obviously next week we will be, but quite incredible. And given Chelsea's performances so far in the League Cup, you could see another penalty shootout coming in December in the quarterfinal. First time we've reached the last date of the League Cup since 2018 under Sarri, when we went all the way to reach the final against Man City. So positive. In terms of my emotions about the League Cup, it does feel very much like a side mission in the season, doesn't it? It's very weird, especially in the third and fourth round. I think now we've got to the last day and there's a little bit of a break before that next round. You know, once you get into the quarterfinals, you take it much more seriously. And I think Tuchel's team may reflect that when we do reach that quarterfinal, whoever it's against, because I think it looks like it probably will be quite a strong draw when we get there. So it does feel like kind of a weird side mission, like a weird forgotten episode in one of your favorite TV series. You know, it's just one that kind of happens, and especially if we, like in recent years, if you get knocked out early on, I don't think people care that much. You know, I think people forget it pretty easily, and it doesn't feel like a massive downer in the season. But I do think there are things we can take away from tonight's game. Kepa Arrizabalaga heroics once again after making, admittedly, an error for Southampton's equaliser at the start of the second half, and you were kind of getting flashbacks to his poor performance against Southampton almost a year ago, I think probably over a year ago now. But he recovered. He made some big saves late on to keep Chelsea in the cup tie and take it to penalties, where once again he makes a big save from Theo Walcott. I think it's weird that there are players who, with the fringe players, it's kind of difficult for me, because a guy like Kepa has a positive night for him personally. I think that's big for him. I think he absolutely plays in the next round, and that keeps his confidence up. The remontada of Kepa Arrizabalaga continues. When you think about the Villarreal game, the Aston Villa game, the fact he played against Spurs and kept a clean sheet, it's good for his confidence. It really is. But he's not going to be playing regularly unless Edouard Mendy gets injured, and at least until January when AFCON happens. But some other fringe players tonight, I think they're the first part of tonight, because I think for the game tonight, I think that was the most important for them. Certain players who, this is their opportunity, this is their starting chance to really make a mark and show Tuchel that they deserve more minutes in the coming weeks. I think it was a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. Malang Sarr, really difficult evening for him. Kind of feels like a backward step after the positive Brentford performance. You know, his cleared ball and start the second half leads to, I think, Walker-Peters, and of course that goes into Che Adams, and of course the equaliser at the start of the second half. I think he was a little bit ragged tonight compared to, say, Chalobah, who's continues his incredible start to the season. I mean, he's likely to get a contract extension, as my colleague at Football London, Adam Newsom, reported, and he fully deserves it. He was wonderful again tonight. But, you know, I think for Sarr, it was a difficult evening. It really was. Of course, Reece James filling in at right centre-back. Saul Niguez, I think, had a more positive evening. He could have scored a hat-trick. You know, he had 2 clear headers from corners, where I think the first one, I think he does as well as he could. The second one, I think he could have done a little bit better, and he had a curling shot that was saved by Fraser Forster, who I think had a pretty decent evening, especially saving that Mason Mount penalty. That was an extraordinary save from the penalty spot. It really was. So I think he had a better performance, the best of his Chelsea 3 starting games so far. I mean, Aston Villa in the league and cup, and obviously tonight. So I think that's a decent step for Saul Niguez. I don't expect him to start on Saturday, but decent. You may see him feature against Malmo this time next week. Who else? Ross Barkley has had some decent moments off the bench, obviously, but kind of those similar frustrations with Ross. Individualism, I think, is kind of his biggest flaw at times. There was a moment in the first half where Chelsea are moving forward. He's on the left, and he can play in Kai Havertz. It's a pretty simple ball across the box that may lead to a goal, the opening goal. And he tries a few step overs and tries to, turn into Eden Hazard and plays a ball back that really breaks down the move. And that's the frustration with Ross. He has these moments where he has a nice back heel that sets us in motion, but then has other moments where he's just lacking that sort of, intelligence or just the right decision in the final third. I do think sort of Marcos Alonso, of course, Marcos Alonso having pretty much a Marcos Alonso performance. There's a few ups, there's a few downs, there's moments where he is breaking forward and you absolutely know he's there and he's contributing to Chelsea's attack. I believe his cross that was blocked at the end of the first half leads to the corner that we score from. Just looking across the team, other than that, I do, we have to get to him. I think Hakim Ziyech is the most disappointing performance tonight, especially when I'm seeing Callum at right wing back after he plays so well at left wing. I don't want to see Callum anytime soon again at right wing back unless there is a major injury crisis and there's just no other option. But really, it's just a shame. And I think that Ziyech, who had such a good preseason, I was on this channel saying, I think this guy can be good. I think this guy could maybe impact things a lot more than last season. We know he's had injury problems, and I don't want to take that away from his Chelsea career because they have hurt him. But he's had a run of performances where he has been fit, where he just isn't impacting things. He hasn't taken a game by the scruff of the neck. Yes, his corner leads to the Kai Havertz header, but I think that's down to Kai's. It's a good delivery, but in terms of an overall performance, I don't think that corner saves Ziyech's performance for me. It just doesn't. I just don't think he is impacting the game enough. I think he loses the ball too easily. I know it's difficult for these players coming in after a period out of the first team and getting that sharpness, but he needs to take these opportunities. The sentiment and the challenge laid down for Callum Hudson-Odoi from Tuchel is, you don't get all the time in the world in the first team. When you do get limited opportunities, even sometimes in the wrong position, you have to take it. And that's how you get more minutes. The same sentiment should be, and the same standard should be applied to Hakim Ziyech, an older player, a player in his prime, who simply hasn't been impacting things for Chelsea. And I've written pieces, thinking that maybe he just doesn't suit a Tuchel system, the kind of player he is. But I also think that his performances just simply aren't good enough at the moment. And he can't really complain if he's not in the first team, especially with Timo Werner out, Lukaku out, Pulisic out. This is a great opportunity for Ziyech, and he simply did not take it. A player of his ability should be doing a lot more with this game, and he never added the inspiration for me that he should have. The game just kind of passed him by, and when he was substituted, you could have no complaints about it really, and that is damning verdict. And it's an even more damning verdict that Ben Chilwell comes in at right wing back, which tells you a lot about this competition and sort of just how weird it is. Callum moves up to right wing and Chelsea instantly look a lot more cohesive up there, and Callum's impacting things, and even if there was a chance late on where maybe he could have done a little bit more to get the ball on target, at least he's impacting the game and just looks like a more influential player at the moment, and that's a damning verdict on Ziyech as well. We get to penalties, in terms of the penalties, Mason Mount's one is wonderfully saved by Forster. Callum Hudson-Odoi takes a good penalty. We know Marcos Alonso and Ben Chilwell are both brilliant penalties, and Reece James coolly finishes it off. I think, it's looking forward to Saturday's game. I don't think any of the fringe players are going to make it into that starting 11. What I'd consider to be fringe players, basically ones that haven't featured or haven't started games pretty regularly. I mean, Kovacic, I think has really hit form again. I think he started the season really strong, and then maybe had a couple of weeks where he dipped a little bit, but now he's back to, I think, really creative levels, and I think that for him, he continues to look really sharp, really in form. The management of N'Golo Kante, and that was kind of a thing I have to mention as well, I think that maybe hampered Thomas Tuchel's ability to rotate things and kind of bring in players who could have made a better impact tonight, is Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Dave both got sort of knocks before this game, and I think out of precaution, it's not long term, and obviously N'Golo Kante was back fit, didn't play on Saturday, but you're not risking him, and that absolutely makes so much sense. I'm not risking him in the League Cup when we don't need to. You risk him maybe in the semi-final of this competition if we get there, or the final obviously, but as much as you can save N'Golo this season, you need to do it. But yeah, I just don't think the B team, or that's kind of harsh because I don't think it was a B team. Southampton made more changes than us, but the fringe players other than Kepa Arrizabalaga for me, and maybe throw in Sal too, just didn't do enough to really prove that they should be getting more minutes in the coming weeks. I think, it's just crazy seeing Ben Chilwell playing at right wing back. I think he did a pretty decent job. Chelsea hanging on there a little bit. I think Trevor Chalobah once again proving why he's a first team player, really doing well. And, we get away with it. We're in the last day, and it's good because, Tuchel, I wrote a piece for Football London before this game, sort of thinking about Jose Mourinho and how Jose used this competition as kind of a springboard in title challenging seasons, and especially by the time we get to December, when we get to January, if we get to the semi-final, And maybe there could be a mess of a fixture congestion thinking about the Club World Cup. But, Chelsea potentially could go all the way in this competition. We'll have to wait and see on that front and who we get in the next round. But Chelsea just getting the job done really in the end, even if I don't fully feel they deserved it. I think probably if you look at the XG, if you look at the quality of chances, Southampton did probably merit a little bit more from this game. But Chelsea getting through, penalty masters, Reece James, the coolest man in West London, and Kepa Arrizabalaga continues. Thank you guys for watching. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea. Follow all of my work with Carefree Chelsea on Football London. Links in the description box below and all on my Twitter at SonOfChelsea. Have a great evening and I will see you again.